This is a review on the Carrack. Very interesting ship, a nice ship, but in a lot of ways not quite ready. As I kind of mentioned a couple times in this video, I think for prime time, it's an expedition ship, and so there's no exploration currently in the game. So, I mean, not really. So there's some forms of that, but it's really like you can't really go explore other systems. There's only one system currently in the game. So when it comes to the Carrack, it's a bit of a mixed bag. It's a nice ship. It's a fun ship for a multi-crew. You know, if you're soloing with it, it's hard to kind of justify this much of an expense. We'll take a look first at the technical specs and kind of technical data that's assigned so far by CIG. Obviously, all of this stuff is subject to final launch of the game, and since it's still in an alpha build, and then we'll take a look at we'll do a walkthrough of the ship, and yeah. But I guess up front, I'll share my final thoughts. Is that this is a fun ship. I don't think it's a good first time ship. That's up to you. You know, obviously you have the money to spend on whatever you want. That's fine, but I generally don't see this as a good first time ship unless it's something you have to have. I kind of see things in two lenses. One is like the ship is going to make a lot of money for you and it's a good ship to invest in. And then the second one's like a second kind of cool. So if that's got that second kind of cool appeal to you and you just absolutely have to have it and you have the money to do it, then go for it, right? It's your money. But as far as like first time buyers that are looking into this, do they want to buy it outright? I definitely don't recommend it as a first time ship. I definitely recommend as well taking advantage of using the CCU game to upgrade to this ship, using other steps along the way to get it at a reduced cost as well. I mean, that's always ideal. But I think it's something if you really want, you work up towards. For me personally, I like it to have it in my fleet, but I prefer to purchase it in game. It's not something, it is something I currently have, but it's because it's part of a CCU chain ultimately to a different ship. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend this as a buy outright. Again, I recommend it as a buy in game, but it would be up to you to decide you want to spend this amount of money in the game, and then if you want to spend it on a ship like this, which again is not really fully fledged out yet, potentially needs it needs a gold pass. So there's a lot changes that could come to it. It could go up in value as well, but at the end of the day, that's not something that I'm really concerned with. I'm just concerned with reviewing it in its current state. Let's take a look at the technical specs. So here we are looking at the technical details for the Anvil Carrack that's listed on the CIG site on Robert Space Industries. So on the RSA site, you see that the focus of this is expedition or exploration, which again, unfortunately, is currently not in the game. So that is a pretty big hit against the Carrack as trying to sell it when unfortunately it's just not a current game loop that you can take advantage of or take part of. I should say not take advantage of, but take part of. It currently in game is sold for 34 million, a little under 34.4 million AUEC, which is a high price. That's one of the higher price ships. It's definitely in the top five. It used to be the second highest under the 890. I don't know if that's still the case. I'd have to look at my pricing sheet, but again, it's got to be on the top five. Now, it's out of the game. You could be purchased for $600. That's in U.S. currency, and so that's obviously a very high cost as well. That puts it at a valuation of 98%. That valuation is a look at the out of game price and the in game price. If I converted my out of game, purchasing it on the store outright, that's $600. If I had converted all that money to AUEC to purchase it in game instead. So it's the only way to kind of put some sort of color or variation on the money to put them more apples to apples and apples to oranges. Obviously, if you look at $600 and say, oh, but it's $34 million or 34 AUEC in game, how do I evaluate those two? And that's to say that you're getting a 98% discount if you buy it at this price versus the in-game price, which makes it look like you need to buy it in the store. But I don't think that's the case here. And I mentioned a couple times in the video why this is not quite ready for prime time. Even if it was, this is a very steep price tag, right? So anytime you're looking at this evaluation, I use this more or less for the 200 and under mark, but I want to try to put it on my reviews because it's, again, some way to peg a difference between the out of game, where you can buy it from the store outright, versus the underpinning the cost that you can pay in game. So I do currently mark this as a ship that I do like to have in my fleet. It's a cool ship. I like having it. I like looking at it occasionally as I just take it out, just to take it out. Maybe I use it for getting between Crusader and Microtech or something like that, right? So it's a fun ship to take out on occasion. But that being said, I underpin it in my fleet as something that needs to be purchased in game, not something that I would want to purchase out of the game. That being said, I do currently own it, but it is a part of a CCU chain to get to a bigger ship as we get ready to go for the Polaris. Here are the size dimensions for it. It's obviously a big ship. That associates it with having a relatively slower speed with it, but it's actually not too bad. It's listed as the afterburner speed, but I don't. This is maybe the nav speed at this point because it does go around 1,000 meters a second once you're in nav mode. Minimum and large crew, or the max crew, we have a minimum crew of 4. You can actually do it with 1. You can solo pilot this, but it's definitely not ideal for this. And then the max crew is 6. I do want to kind of note, and then the cool thing about this, there is quite a bit of this max crew 6 being used pretty tastefully throughout the whole ship. When I say that, I mean when there's escape pods, usually there's an escape pod for 1 if there's only 1 crew member that should be in that spot. But like even behind the main deck there are 6 escape pods, which is really cool. You don't see stuff like that in the Reclaimer, unfortunately, where it's supposed to be a multi-crew ship, but then it's like, hey, there's like 2 pods. So good luck, rock, paper, scissors, draw short straws, whatever it may be, right? But it's set up pretty well for this crew of 6 beds, things of that nature. Cargo. This is with an asterisk on it because 456, it's a nice cargo capacity. So currently people use this ship. If you do own it, you could use it for cargo running. However, that asterisk is an asterisk because as we get ready to go to 324, that 456 is not accessible in any meaningful way. You can only get like maybe 1 or 2 SCU boxes to fit down the hallways to get to the cargo bay. I'll show this when we take a look at the walkthrough, and I'll highlight this there as well. But that 456 is assuming it's fine in the current makeup of the game. But as the cargo changes go live, it's going to be a bit of a mess. It's not going to work out very well. So its current use, a secondary use of being a cargo ship, I'd say it's not going to be super usable as a cargo ship as we get into 324, unless they look to meaningfully address that. Maybe you'll allow the auto loading to be done for free on the Carrack or something. But anyways, it's a bit of a hot mess. Looking at the turrets here, which is the most part I want to focus the most on. Most of the components are large here, but for the turret size, there are 6 turrets, 1 on each wing. So that's where these 2 come from. There's a 1 underside and then 1 on the top, and that top one is a unmanned turret. The rest of them are manned. So 3 of the 4 turrets are manned turrets. That means a crew member has to go and get into that turret. And then the top turret is an unmanned turret that's accessible by a crew member on the near the piloting section on the bridge. I'll point that out as well when we do the walkthrough, but only 1 turret is unmanned. So yeah, all again large components except for 1. The computers are medium components, and yeah, all of this again is subject to change once the game comes out for release. But this is currently the details of it. Feel free to pause any of it if you like to take a look at it. But let's get into walking through the ship because it's a big ship. It's going to take quite a bit of time. Starting out, you're going to start out on the underside of the ship. There is a button you can press down here on this side to get the ramp down, and this is the only way to get into the ship. There is a docking port, but unfortunately, obviously from the ground, you can't get to that, and you don't really dock that way for this ship. Close the door here, so you can see there is a Nursa that I've got in here, so it is set up to use the Ursa, and you actually get an Ursa as a rental as well. And then I've got the big rock in here, the big rock miner, or rock DS, so that just kind of shows how much space you've got back here. Quite a bit of room for activities, so easy enough to fit a couple ground vehicles in here. This is how you close up the door, so it's closing now. There's a stairway here. I'll go ahead and just show this to you, but I'll point it out when we get to the top here. But this is a stairway. Again, I'll mention when we get up to the top there where it comes out at. But this is just if you have an issue with the elevator, you could potentially take that. There's a button here to lower this ramp here, but I like to have it as a point to figure out where they kind of need to stop in order to have some good room on here. But if you want to put some SCU boxes, you can actually probably stack some along here as well. On the left here, we do have an elevator, so I'll call that. Now it's already here. Okay, that's good. This is the docking port on this side, and then there are a number. Every time you see one of these, this is like little suit lockers, which is pretty cool. So you obviously, unfortunately, they don't work. So that's where we'll get a little bit of a running theme on some of this stuff. Really cool looking stuff. How it's actually implemented, not as cool because it's not currently working. So there's a docking port there, so you would just open that up to get out to space. Currently, we're in a hangar, so you won't need to do that to get to space. But anyways, cargo. So this is the first kind of challenge with this. I guess it was a good way to start here because this is kind of a negative piece on this. 324 is going to be a rough patch because you cannot open these cargo sections. There's 3 of these. I think they're meant to be modular as well. You can go up and down on them. You can go down there with this little elevator for each of the sections, but unfortunately you can't open these. So what kind of car you can fit here? You can only fit little 2 SCU boxes in here, or 1 SCU boxes because these 4, 8, 16, none of those are going to fit through these doorways. So that's going to make 324 a pretty rough spot for the Carrack because one of the only big selling points right now is it's a cargo carrier. Well, it's not a very good cargo carrier if you can't actually access the cargo once you get to 324. Unless they're going to allow you to load up automatically on the cargo on the Carrack for free for whatever reason. That's a little bit of an unfair advantage, but you almost need to do something like that because you have to pay to load this thing up. So it's going to cut into your profits. Well, so this is the armory here. You can load up firearms here. All right, so you just walk up and you place it. I may add some footage of that because I caught that earlier. If I kept that footage. Again, more areas for your armor or suits. And then you can fit stuff like a pulse in here. So I did ride the pulse down through the cargo ramp, through the hallway there. So you can get small craft in here as well, which is pretty cool. And then there's our big elevator. We'll take this actually to head up, so I'll call that. But also want to look at the back here. So this is where your first turret's going to be. This is a man turret, the aft turret. It is on, so we'll head down here. I don't know if it'll still be powered on because we're in. Well, it should be on because we're in armistice, but I won't be using obviously. But all the turrets are pretty rear heavy. We'll take a look at that at the end, but unfortunately, there's good coverage for the back of the ship, not very good coverage on the front of the ship. It's just kind of the state that the ship is currently in, unfortunately. Yeah. So here's a turret. Again, we're towards the back of the ship here. I do have that one set up with Gatling guns just because I wanted to kind of try that out, but it would have been better to put the cannons like I did with the other. I have the Omni cannons and the other turrets. They're all size 4, so same kind of size turrets there, and there's 2 guns on each one. All right, now the very top turret's actually unmanned, so there's a remote turret that's used upstairs, and again, I'll show you where that's at. I call this elevator. Did it leave me already? Because clearly no elevator right there. So we'll go up 1 floor to the habitation deck. That's probably my favorite deck. Come on. There we go. No, it's not here. It's right up there. All right. Well, this elevator. So this is the fun and joy of stuff like Star Citizen, where you have something like the elevator boss, which is just too good. I'm not gonna mess with that anymore. We'll go to the front elevator. I'm actually gonna need that later, so hopefully that'll get fixed. Like, hopefully it'll kind of resolve. I think this server's kind of dying, so decline. Yeah, so it's been a little bit of a rough patch trying to record all this due to the current state of this server. This elevator's here though, so we're good. All right, so we'll head this up to the habitation. That back elevator, I do need that in order to get to the cartography. So I'm hoping that will get working. I'll try to get it on this side because it is up here. So we're going to start from the front here to go to the back. Because again, we've been working from the front to back because this actually, below this is where the garage is. So you have a pilot seat and then 2 co-pilot seats here. So you can have 3 of the crew here. Again, it's meant for a crew of 6. And the pilot can be flown in actually 2 sections. There's this thing that comes up as well. And then here's like a fuel section in here that's closed up on this side. But I don't know quite what this is for. I thought maybe it would be for an army or something, but it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a scanning thing. Curious to see what they plan on doing about in the future. There's quite a few of these things where you can open up things and work with things, but unfortunately some of them don't really have any current interaction that they really use. So here is the top part. There's a command. You can fly. You can also fly from up here, just like down below the pilot. So you can fly from either one of these sections. Sometimes the vision can be better up here than it is down there in the pilot section. This is a support chair for support needs. Now this is where actually the remote turret's used. So this is the top turret. So this is the only one that's actually remote. The rest of them are all manned. And then here's another kind of, this isn't cartography, but it is kind of an exploration map piece, which is pretty cool. But again, unfortunately, it's not really implemented. There are escape pods here. So really quick, easy, accessible escape pods, which is really nice. We'll go back here. So on this side, we have the repair room. You can do some repairs in here, but again, right now, unfortunately, it's not really working. So it's like a printer for printing repairable parts and then working amongst the ship. So this would be like a sub-engineering section. There's an engineering section in the back, but I guess this would be like the home base for the engineer to kind of do some stuff if he needs to do some fixes. Similar idea back here. There's drones. Again, this is currently not working either. Again, that's an unfortunate trend with the Carrack. So ideally you would use your drones here, I think also for repair. They could also possibly be used in the future for exploration. That'd be pretty cool for like sending them into black holes or wormholes or something, but unfortunately we don't quite know what that looks like yet. And until they actually release it and tell us what it'll be used for, everything they've said so far is kind of hearsay until they actually determine what they want to use it for. So there is a hangar in here, and you can fit, it's meant for the C8 series. So we do have a C8 in here, but you can fit other stuff in here as well. As you can see, I also have a Fury in here. So there's a number of vehicles already in here. I've got 3 ground vehicles on the bottom, and I've got, this as a flying vehicle, and we've got 2 other vehicles as well. I don't know what happened with the door here. When I landed it to repair it, it wouldn't let me repair it. So you have a regular C8 here, which is nice. Again, it's meant to go with the Carrack. and then you get the Fury, or I've got a Fury in here as well. You don't get the Fury, but you can fit a Fury in here as well. Fortunately, the Fury is in a bit of a rough spot right now, so it's yeah. Some will say good, some will say bad. In the current state on their flight model, I think it could use some love. To be honest, a lot of the snub fighters I think could. Here we are with one of the guns seats. I think this is the port side. So you just would have someone man this turret, and it's going to be at the end here. I'll show some footage of the outside of the craft, but you can see they're on the wings. But again, you can see every time we're near the turrets, we're near the back, because again, this is where it's mostly defended, is from the backside. Here's the engineering. And we'll take a look at that engineering section up there as well. But yeah, you can just go up or down here. This is, I think, meant to be like the engines essentially here. We'll come back up. Well, I better show this room really quick, because there's a little engineering. I don't know what this is. I mean, it's a part of engineering, it seems like, but it just looks nice, but there's really nothing going on in here. So you can see down engine engineering, but there's really nothing in here you can actually work with. So not sure what they plan on doing with this particular section. All right, now we'll go back in engineering and we'll go downstairs, because you can actually get to the ship components from there. And so we'll head down. So the engineering section and the cockpit area, the bridge, both have a little sub elevator. So you have a radar in here. Life support, I did open this up. Shield generators, you got 2 shield generators here, one on each side. See there, and then you got the ladder to go up there if you'd like to use that instead of the elevator here. But since we're here, let's take a look through these doors. And there's a fuel section in here, and this is the same on both sides. So you got a fuel section on both sides here. Yeah, so may have some play with refueling at a later date, but for now, again, a lot of this stuff is unfortunately not quite ready. Although it's closer to prime time than some of the other stuff so far. The other stuff is really, at least that stuff is being tested currently. And then here's the port. I think we already looked at the port one. So there's a turret each on each side here. So these sides are mirrored. I'll show that just kind of for completeness. So that was the port side. This is the starboard side. And so you have the starboard turret right here. There you go. And you just would man that as well. So you can have 4 crew members manning the turrets. You have a pilot, and then I guess the commander. Maybe you have someone working engineering. So again, a good crew of 6 would help with this. I don't think actually the elevator's on this floor. It kind of came up to this floor. Ooh. Surely we can trust this. That didn't look wonky at all. That totally seems safe. It's about to be a workplace incident. Please take me to cartography. So this is the only elevator that can actually take you to cartography, and it ain't moving. Solid sign that this is not working as intended. All right, I think I'll have to show, I have some other footage. I'll have to show that footage for this. Am I trapped in here? Am I in a glass case of emotion? Oh, I don't know what happened there. It was not good, though. Let's try cartography one more time. So these elevators can be finicky. Yes, this also shows a bit of the state of the game. So I'm not looking to hide any of this stuff at all. Alright, it's not going to go up to cartography. So I'll have to show the other footage for the cartography. Seems like I could just show possibly habitation here. So we'll just take that as a win. It's actually cockeyed. You can see that there. It's got a bit of an angle going on with it. So that's I've heard other people mention that the elevator has been a little bit wonky at times. Now we'll cover it back here. So we're already here. Medical. So we started from the back. We're going back towards the front here. You have medical. I like this little decontamination chamber. I was thinking of this something like the Nostromo, so it'd be nice if they had that something like that in Alien. So you have a couple beds up here. I don't know if you can heal from these, to be honest. I laid there earlier and I couldn't use them. But this is the big tier 2 bed here. So there's a level 2 bed in here, and you can use it for spawning, administration, things of that nature. Administration allows you to manage who has access to your medical stuff, and your respawning, you can clear it out. So you as the owner of the ship can clear that out when the panel's working. I think I'm dealing with some server problems now. So patient care, obviously I don't need to worry about that. I'm not currently having injuries, but you can regenerate here, or you can use admin to clear out those that already have regeneration. That way if someone, maybe is hooked up for regeneration and they've moved on, or you think that they've gone, sour or something, you can go ahead and remove them from your regeneration section. They have an engineering panel in here, so this is like the doctor's office, if you will. Some oxygen and some other components. Much like the Idris has this as well, but you can't really interact with it. There's some panels and whatnot, but really, again, this is all for show. Same thing over here. This is a storage section, but again, there's a little grow area, which is kind of cool. So maybe you can grow some of your own medicine. Giggity. Yeah, but looks nice. but largely just the bed, and there's the most important part here. This is the elevator here as well. Let me go up a floor because I didn't cover something, and we'll come back down to habitation. I'm going to go up to technical deck just for a second because I want to show you across the way from here is where that stairway goes from. It's not across the way, it's right here. This is where the stairs go from the service ladder. So if you ever get stuck near the elevator problem remind me. So if you're having a problem with the elevators, there's a stairway. That led all the way from the garage part. So that first ramp we entered on, I said, hey, there's a stairway down there. That's where it leads to. So if you need to use this elevator, at least you have some access to the bridge and whatnot. You can go up to the front. There's a bridge up there, elevator as well. So there's a number of bridges and elevators. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the bridge, and then we'll come back through here a little bit. So here's the bridge. Again, you have another elevator up here. So if you have the stairway, you can walk back up here and go to use this elevator if you'd like to instead. So a number of ways to kind of get around here. This is the captain's quarters. Nice little area where you can, at least the captain's room, like the pre-room here, where you can do some things. Some of these things, there's a number of kind of panels and stuff. Unfortunately, they don't currently work as intended. I think they're usually lit up and working, but unfortunately right now you can just kind of open them and close them. They don't actually appear to have anything going on with them. Same thing with these displays. They don't ever really do anything. It's just kind of fake data, dummy data in there, if you will. So then you have your bed in here, and then you have a little area where you can store things. Unfortunately, that doesn't really work as intended right now, much kind of like the Reclaimer and other ships. You have your bathroom, your toilet, and shower there. Separate, which is nice. They're not a combo like some. You got your vampire mirror, because we just don't have the technology is just not there yet, I guess, to see ourselves. I guess that is something fairly hard for the programmers to kind of work in. Gotta kind of get that going, but that's just funny. Right now, a lot of people are vampires. So we're over here behind the captain's quarters. You do have a mess hall, dining facility section. Again, unfortunately, you can't get to any of these here or use these. Even use the coffee maker for drinking and stuff would be pretty cool, or a water dispenser. But anyways, right now, we don't have any of that stuff. Look forward to that kind of stuff in the future. Here's something. I think it's the guys calling for the... it is Xeno threat currently, at the time we're recording for this. I thought maybe they were trying to get ready to impound my vehicle. So here we are with the Recreation Center. We'll start here with the toilets. So Recreation Center is across the hall from... It has the toilets across the hall from the bedrooms, so we'll take a look at this here. So you have just a couple toilet stalls in here. Currently not implemented in the game, so having bathrooms is not a major thing, but at least they're their own combo. They're not a combo, they're just their own toilets. Again, kind of the vampire effect going on with the mirrors. A little trough. I guess that could be used as an impromptu toilet too if you gotta go really bad. Don't do that. Anyways, here's the bedroom. More storage in here as well. So you have these kind of storage lockers, but again, unfortunately right now, not really working. So if you wanted to bring one SCU boxes in here or 2 SCU boxes, you can have them in here and put uniforms and whatnot in here, or whatever you want to bring, guns and whatnot. There is the armory downstairs, so you don't necessarily have to bring guns, but you could. Showers in here. And again, another separate mirror, your little trough. If you get hungry, you can put your food in there. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it for the ship. I'll have to bring in the upper deck piece as well, but up there is just a cartography map, and there is the outside hangar doors. So you look at the map, it looks really cool. Unfortunately, it just doesn't do anything right now. This station, if you click on this, it just they'll look at power or something. Like, I don't know if it's a random, but look here, the station will just turn to, last time I used it was power on here. Yeah, it just shows you power. So it's not really currently working as intended, unfortunately. But cool looking map. It looks like it's just standing right. You can see the 4 planets here around the sun, Sol, or whatever it may be here. So look forward to it, but a lot of this ship is a lot like that, where it's like, oh, it'll be cool when it works. But for now, unfortunately, it's just in the state where it doesn't do anything. Escape pods here as well. So you got one on each side. These, I originally thought these were escape pods too, but they are for gear. So like if you want to do a spacewalk, this is another thing that's kind of cool, right? So you come up here, you're in a civilian suit or whatever, just regular old casual wear. Just hop in your spacesuit here, and then you can head out, because this is actually one of the airlocks. And this leads to the hangar down here as well. So here we are over the top, and this is where it turns into, a half of the ship here, because we've run out of floor. We're just out here, and so this is the hangar here. If the hangar was open, you can access the ships here. If you had a ship waiting, you could go leave it out here. You could go down through here and go downstairs, open the hangar, and then come back out here and park your ship. And then you'd have to get out, you'd have to close the hangar, you'd have to come back and close this door as well. But anyways, it's kind of a you can close your door too before you head down there, head to the ship. So anyways, just one way to load up your ship if you get to the point. Because obviously right now, you can't really call the ship in here. You'd have to load it up in a way that allows you to go to a station, call the ship, and load it up there, like the C8, like I did, or the Fury, right? You gotta kind of go to a station to finagle all of that. Yeah, that's about it. So let's head down, take the elevator and head down. Here. So yeah, so I'm realizing I did not capture good look of the ship. You can see there some of the VTOLs kind of working, the thrust and the ship as a whole here. Great lookings too on the engines on the back, so large engines. You can see the turret on the bottom, turret on the top there, and on each of the wing you can see the turrets. So again, as I mentioned before, it's pretty much heavy defense on the back side, but on the front you're left a little vulnerable. So if you have someone that's hanging out on the front of your ship, like at the very front like this, that could be a bad day, because you can't really cover that section. The back turret's going to be covered up, and the front turret would be as well. It's a little bit elevated on the back turret, but still, it would need to be further up for it to be a little more successful and really protecting. That's where I think point defense would be nice to have up front. Maybe even pilot-owned weapons up front would be pretty sick as well. But yeah, this is a look at the ship. It looks great, largely. I mean, that's open to opinion. Those are the 3 cargo bays at the bottom down there. I do have the lights on. Let's turn that off. A little blinding. And then the ramp opens up in the front, actually. So the front here has the ramp at the very bottom here. It's the only way to get in from the ground level. Then you can pop it into landing mode. I'm getting ready to dock myself. Well, not dock, but land. So yeah, cool looking ship. Well, again, relatively speaking, I like it. I think it looks pretty cool. But yeah, I thank y'all for checking out the video. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more. I plan on doing more reviews. And I like to follow a lot, or do a lot of salvaging content, so I like to share as much as I can as far as some of the industrial gameplay. Alright, I'll catch y'all next time. Thank y'all for taking a look at the video. Catch you next time. Peace.